All right. So recently, and well, I don't know what that was. Oh, man. I was called a. I was. Somebody said that I was soft. I was like, I'm soft? Really? He's like, yeah, you soft. And here's the thing. When you say somebody is soft, you're saying that anybody can get anything over on you. You can't defend yourself. You'll let anything get past you. You have no street sense. Somebody can just walk up in your house and just take your woman or take your money, unarmed. You soft. You ain't gonna do nothing. You soft. Somebody can just punch you in the face. You soft. You ain't gonna do nothing. They can just jack you up. You soft, homie. Anybody can take your food. You soft. You ain't never been in a fight. You ain't never had to defend yours. You soft. You weak. You ain't got no guff. You soft. That's what you are. Look at me. I'm not soft. Not whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? I know when to hold them and when to fold them. I am non-confrontational. But let's just get some statistics out the way. I'm 6'2", I'm 283. I bench press around 330. I'm also 55 years old this year. Excuse me, this month. So if some of you guys go, 330 is not that much, I'm going, you're probably not 55 years old. I'm also a disabled veteran. I can move around, but I got spinal stenosis, so kind of hurts to do stuff, even just the rest. So yeah, I got some physical issues that limit how much wear and tear I can put on my body. But there are some of my numbers. So when it comes to fighting, I can fight. But do I look forward to it? No. I do not look forward to any scrap with anybody. Because there's, once that anger gets in you, it sticks to your ribs. And you're always trying to get revenge, and then you'll go and do something that you'll regret. And if you haven't noticed that it doesn't take much for people to go off nowadays. So somebody's got to be level-headed. But for some random dude to just, you soft, I'm like, come and prove it. You know what I'm saying? Because I may lose, but, you're going to know that I will defend myself. You know what I'm saying? And there are guys out there who are stronger than me, faster than me. I'm not trying to box with you dudes. I'm not trying to prove to you that I can't fight with all of you. I can't, and I'm not going to. You know what I'm saying? But you're not trying to take my food. You're not trying to run up in my house. You guys are not trying to steal my vehicle. You know what I'm saying? It's the extreme is what I look at when I have to defend myself and mine. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's the extreme. And other than that, some silly stuff, I'm going to let go. You call me names, okay, homie, go on about your business, whatever. But when, I'm backed into a corner, yeah, I'm gonna throw. I ain't got no choice. I may lose, but you gonna know that, hey, I threw down with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's not somebody who's soft. I'm just somebody who doesn't care about proving myself to any of you. I don't meet me up here so we can, you do it. Have fun. I don't heal as fast as a lot of you. A lot of you are young And you can go and do all that stuff, and you'll bring a gang of homies, and when your homies see you lose, they're gonna jump in. Now, dudes, y'all can't get a fair one on to save your life. Y'all don't know what a fair one is. Like, I grew up with the fair one. You met out in the middle of the street, you stopped traffic, you got it on, just you and whoever, and it was over. Hell, after that, you might have even shook hands or shared a Coca-Cola or something, whatever. And, hey, you got in a fight, And people knew when somebody was going to fight, after school, you got in a fight, or, it was like an announcement, we're going to fight. But you cats nowadays, y'all don't fight fair. Y'all don't know how to get into a fair one and take an L. Y'all don't know nothing about taking an L, because your pride is paper thin. Your ego is paper thin. You're so worried about what the internet thinks about you. You're worried about with all these people, somebody see you getting your block knocked off. You got to go and get the jammy and flat blast the whole neighborhood. Y'all are taking people off the planet who had nothing to do with the reason why you got beat up. They don't know you. They're not in your mix. You guys are taking out little girls, little 10-year-olds is getting their lives took because you got beat up. So don't call me soft. Call, your generation soft, because they are soft. I didn't grow up in a soft generation. I grew up where you got your ass kicked, and you got your ass kicked again until you learn how to fight. That's how I grew up, okay? I'm 55, all right? I went to high school in the 80s, homie. You know what I'm saying? You need to look us up, okay? We didn't have all the school days that you had and all that stuff about walking to school. Yeah, we did all that, okay? We did that. In the winter, we did that, homie, all right? With the chains on our buses so our buses can get up the hill. Nah, homie, y'all not built like we are. Y'all not. So don't call me soft when all of you are packing some type of heat. And y'all not going to get a fair one on to save your life. Y'all don't know how to do that. Now your dad knows how to do that, but y'all don't know how to do that. So as far as being a lame, yeah, you can call me a lame, okay. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm square. Listen, I like being a lame. I like being a chill out and watch all you goofballs die over stupid stuff. I just marvel at your stupidity. I marvel at it. I'm like, you guys didn't see that coming? I marvel at how angry you get over stuff that has little to nothing to do with you. You guys argue over, what city is better than what. You guys argue over women who don't know you. You guys fight over what car looks like what. You guys fight over shoes. You fight over shoes that cost you $200-$300, and the owner of them shoes ain't thinking about y'all. But y'all call me lame. Because I don't care about your goofy shoes and your goofy, all that goofy stuff y'all pay money for it, but I'm a lame? No, okay, that's fine. I'll be a lame. I'll be a square. I'm a square. I'm a whole square. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't want to drink and smoke. It's never been cool to me. And I'm going to tell you something about smoking. Tell you something. For one, it's dangerous for you. For two, cancer is running rampant. So why even bring that on? I've had family members die over cancer. And I got family members that got cancer now. So, yeah, I'm not fighting that into my life. But another reason why I didn't smoke is because smoking, slows you down. And I used to run the mile competitively. So I used to run the 800 in a mile, and that's how I got into college. I had a scholarship at the age of 26 because I was still out there on the street, just running up and down the street, chasing buses and stuff like that. And I wanted to go to school, and I went to a HBCU, a black university. And I went down there, and the guy said, listen, let me see how fast you can run. Once he saw how fast I could cover a mile with pretty much no practice, he was like, I'll give you a partial scholarship to run for us. And that's how I got into the HBCU. And that HBCU was Talladega University. So there that is. So you guys can call me lame and all that other stuff, but I don't. And another thing, for all you people who are squares like me, hold your head. Because these people ain't doing nothing that's impressive. They dying fast. They're partying and they're BSing, and they're gonna miss the boat. You know what I'm saying? So don't feel bad when your girlfriends and your guy friends are all going out and having this super phony, fake ass, supposedly good time and doing the same thing and barely making it to work and barely pay their bills, dropping dead, shooting at each other, irresponsible, not married, just living a whole life that's contrary to, anything productive. Don't look at them and envy them because they are full of it, full of trash. And you pray for them, though, because if they don't get their life together, that's just the way they're going to die, partying and whatnot. And that's another reason why I stopped, is because it was the same thing, same music, same girls, same guys. And it was just, and the Lord said, come out from among them. And that's what I did. So it's okay to be alone. I ran into one of my homies yesterday, and he was struggling with his ex-wife. And I told him, be alone. You know what I'm saying? I got more done. I wrote a book called The Sorrow King. Nobody's read it, but I wrote it. I write songs. I make this music that you hear. I fix my appliances. I love to fix my appliances. I love the silence. I'm creative. I can sit up there and create things, or I think about creation. I think about how things are made, and then I come up with, solutions. And peace to you too. Morning, Mike. Yeah, thank you, sir. This is my second channel, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So this is my second channel. But I'm just saying, it's okay to be alone, you guys. It's okay to just be somewhere in the quiet. There is nothing wrong with being quiet. I'm gonna tell you, listen. If you want to hear God's voice, go somewhere quiet. You're gonna hear more. God, listen. The one thing God does not do is stop talking when somebody wants to hear. So you want to hear some good words, some good instruction, straight from the Maker. You want to get some good guidance. Go somewhere and be alone. Sit in your car. You know what I'm saying? Find a corner at work. Get away from the noise. Get away from the rat race. In the middle of the night, wake up and just chill. Nothing's wrong with being alone. This world will make you think if you're lonely, if you're alone, you're lonely. And it's not the case. Now, we are made to be with people. So, yeah, it can get to you if you're not used to it. But look at me. Do I look like I need to be around people? I'm unkempt. My hair is whatever. I ain't shaved. But I'm on the internet presenting myself like, look. Do I look like I'm ashamed? I'm not ashamed to look like this. I'm not trying to impress anyone. You guys can't stay away from the barber. I gotta go to the barber. Every 2 weeks you got a hair out of place. Yeah. Nobody cares. And you spend $100 at the barber. And now you got people twerking on you at the barber. Get off of me. I don't want that. I want a haircut. That's it. And get out there and go find something that you love to do. Go fall in love with yourself again. Fall in love with God again. Quit worrying about all this goofy. Throw that terrible music. That's where it starts. That music is leading you into a pit. It is. You guys listen to more dangerous music than has ever been created. All together. Your music is acidic, it's toxic, it is totally corrupted, and it is not your culture. You're listening to foreign music that has been, it's an amalgamation of your actual music. Now, if you take the beats that you hear and those low vibration beats that you're hearing, that's not. Okay, tribal. We're tribal, right? So when we hear certain beats in certain volumes and certain rhythms, it means something to us. We have beats for going to war. We have beats for celebrating marriages. We have beats for celebrating children coming into this world. We have beats for celebrating a kill. We have beats just for worshiping the Lord. We have music for everything. But the music that is being pitched to you is all war. And you can't tell me I'm lying. All your music is war. The music you're hearing from Drake, war. It's war. You can't tell me it's not. 901, they're alive, but that's war. Shoot. That's war. That music is made to go to war. SRT, and all them guys singing about driving cars and shooting stuff up. War. Just all the music you're listening to is telling you to go out and war with each other. So when you put it on, you may like the beat. You may like you're like, oh, I like this beat. But that beat is sending you into a spiritual frenzy. That's what it's doing. And there's a spirit behind all of it. And next thing you know, you have enmity with someone who you don't even know. Because they got on a certain color, because they're walking around with a certain woman, because they drive a certain car. Now you're listening to these people talk about what they don't like, and these gang members making this music, and when you spot it, you automatically have a feeling about it. If someone's driving a Cadillac, Escalade, and you don't like it, now you got beef with them because they're driving a $100,000 car and your car is $30,000. Now you got beef with that person. If someone has a red, whatever, you got beef because they got on a red. You're triggered. You're triggered by somebody driving a red car with a red hat on and red shoes. That means kill them. Somebody has on a blue. You're triggered by the fact that they have on blue. The sky's blue. Are you triggered every morning that the sky's blue? Just the whole sky. The whole sky is blue. The oceans are blue. You're triggered because the ocean. Oh. Your generation is in trouble. What you call me lane and me square. And I'm sitting back and watching y'all die. Y'all died. Takeoff died at a dice game. Let's just drink this in. Takeoff died at a dice game over an argument that his uncle started. At a dice game at a public place. Let's drink this in. The Migos are the most famous rap group ever. Ever. Takeoff net worth was $26 million. Why are you at a dice game with gangsters? Explain that to me. Why are you at a dice game arguing with people who don't even make a third of what you make? The people that took him out, they weren't millionaires. Why are you even there? You couldn't get me to make 26 million, and I'm not even what 30. $26 million, and you invite me to a dice game? I would be like, absolutely not. A dice game where people are notoriously dying. And here's the thing about it: Duke the Jeweler just died at a dice game not even a month earlier. And the thing about that is the same dude who was there, a group of people was there, you're hanging out with the dude. And then, what did you expect? I don't, and I'm a lame. No, I'm not a lame. A dice game. Let me make $26 million. You will not see me. That's what I mean. You guys think that you have to prove something to the hood, but you come back to the hood and die. The guys who killed them, those guys, they probably ain't even have $50,000 in their pocket. I don't have $50,000, but I'm saying compared to 26 million, Offset is worth 29 million. Those guys are multi-millionaires. They're the most famous rap group ever, and you die at a dice game? There's no way I would be there. No way. But this is the stupidity of our culture. Go back to the hood, hang out on certain block, do the same dumb stuff that everybody else is getting killed over. I'm going right back to that. I would be in White Peopleville, on White People Lane, on White People Road, with a white house and a white picket fence, minding my own damn business. There's no way that I would have been caught at a dice game. There's no way. Maybe a cookout, but not a dice game. I'm just saying, y'all call square people who stay out of the way lanes, squares. And that's not what, that's not really what's going on. What we are is watchers. We watch what's going on, and we get out of the way of it. Like I had a homie, God rest his soul, he just died. But he was sick and died. And I told him, because he built a studio in a garage in the hood, out in the city I live in now. And I was like, why did you build this studio here? In a garage. Nice computers, everything. And I'm like, why did you build it here on Cleveland Avenue in 22nd? Why here? You know the projects is here. You know that Cleveland Avenue is one of the worst places in Columbus, Ohio. Why would you build it here? I told him, I said, you're going to get robbed. That's it, and that's all. And I never went back to his studio. He was like, nah, I'm not going to get robbed. I got an AK over there. I got a this over there. Ain't nobody going to rob me. You know what happened? I saw him about a couple weeks later. You know what he said? I got robbed. I said, I told you. That's why I never went back to your studio. And I like your music, but I'm not coming back to your studio because I know you're going to get robbed. When these cats hear all that good music, they're going to know you got good production, quality stuff coming out of this garage. And they went right in there and took everything he had. Everything. It's all gone. Everything. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. See, you can call me a lame and I'll accept that, but I'm a watcher. I watch what y'all do, and I don't do what y'all do because it's corrosive and it gets people killed. It gets people robbed. Y'all get people beat up. Even the women. I watch these women who are doing the same thing, and they're all dressed alike. All these females who are backdooring you dudes are all dressed alike. And even Tupac talked about it. Tupac said, when a man get horny, a man dies. And when you look at these chicks with the lashes out and the this and that, and they not the same people that wake up in the morning and look like a whole different person when they walk out. Those chicks be setting y'all up, and y'all be dying trying to get in them pants. Y'all be dying trying to have sex with these girls who don't give a damn about y'all. Y'all travel all this way, and look, I ain't got no problem with traveling to see a female. I don't have no problem with that. What I got a problem with is a lot of these females look the same, and we not picking up on it. We not picking up on the same. They doing the same thing, the same culture. They listening to the same toxic music. It's the same thing over and over and over again, and they setting people up. They setting people up. And if listen, I like a good looking woman. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, if we don't start waking up, brothers, and looking at what's happening, this is not something against the ladies. This is something against the ladies who are setting people up. If we don't start waking up and start talking about this amongst ourselves, there are going to be more dead men. And listen, they not only going after black men, they going after white dudes, Chinese dudes. They knocking them off too. And this is coming from black women are doing this. They're doing this. Look at the news. It's all over the news. They just got a Chinese dude. Why? Because he thought old girl was, bad deal. Listen, if y'all don't go somewhere and sit your ass down and start learning and put down the cigarettes, put down that weed, put down all that stuff that manipulates your mind and convinces you of something that's not there. Put it down. And you're like, weed's not harmful. Yes, it is. Because it slows you down. And anything that can slow down your reflexes can kill you. And the reason why I say that is, let's just say you just got done smoking weed. What's the first thing you want to do? Eat. You're hungry, which means the weed is controlling something in you. That's the first thing you want to do. You want to eat. Then you want to sit down and chill. And you can philosophize all you want, but nonetheless, if somebody who hasn't been smoking weed that day start something up with you, your reflexes are going to be slower. You can't tell me I'm lying. And if your reflexes are slower, you can get your ass knocked out real quick. It just doesn't take much. You know what I'm talking about. Put that stuff down. Leave that stuff alone. You don't need it. Keep yourself sharp. Hit the gym. Do some push-ups. Y'all should be doing 40 push-ups a day. Point blank. And the reason why I said 40 push-ups is because there was a study done with firemen. And the study that was done with firemen, they found that the firemen that did push-ups all the time, like at least 40 a day, their heart was better. Y'all should be knocking out. At some point in time, y'all should be boom, 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 boom. That's the stuff y'all should be on. Quit focusing on this nonsense. You notice how all your favorite rappers are going to jail. They getting y'all on Rico. And they got Thug on Rico. And they got the dude who he was beefing with. They already got him in jail. That dude is on suicide watch. I forgot what his name was. The guy that made the song about the SRT. He's on suicide watch. These guys are looking at doing a lot of time. These guys, you're looking up to people who are rich and struggling because they can't get their mind away from their criminal activity. Like, what are you even doing here? You're multi-millionaires. Why are you here? Why are you still in the hood focusing on everything negative? What is here that you can't let go? You can't let it go. Like, look at Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry got his money and is out. He's out. He's up. You don't see Tyler Perry rocking with no lames, goofballs who are trying to do. He ain't interested in none of that. He built himself $100 million crib. He's got his own studio. He's got rights, royalties. People are now coming to him for work. Tyler Perry's out. This man was living in his car. He's out. He's up. He's done. He's finished. He's not coming back to the hood talking about somebody need to play a dice game. You can't coax him to come to the worst part of the hood and hang out with some extortionists. The J. Prince family, him and his family, mob ties, was extorting people. That's what they were doing. I don't know if they're still doing it, but that's what they were doing. You had to pay them in order to come into a certain part of town. And everybody knows it. If you're hanging out with them, it's already a problem. I'm saying that because if you need protection to go into any of these places, then you don't need to be there. You don't need, that's what I'm saying. You don't need to go there. Why? Why be there? Who are you impressing for a birthday party? Oh, wait, let me get this straight. In order to celebrate life, I have to hang out with people who are known to get people killed. Just happened. Somebody got killed in your presence. And I need to, I don't get it. It doesn't add up to me. It doesn't. So y'all can call me a lame all you want. But this is one of the reasons why I left Atlanta. Atlanta was too much for me. And it was moving at a pace that I couldn't keep up with. And I didn't want to keep up with. But there are some cities and boroughs on the outside of Atlanta that I did like. And I actually thought about moving back to there. One of them was like 15 minutes outside of Atlanta. I had a small little university. And I wanted to buy a house there when I got enough money and, get my master's degree. And I wanted to study biology, you know what I mean? Just taking biology classes. So I thought about that. I really did like the area. But Atlanta, when I was there, I saw that it was moving too fast for me. And I wanted to be in a space where I was I wasn't worried about anything except, getting my money and finishing my education. I didn't want to be, for one, I was never assaulted or accosted. I never had a dealings with the police, other than me and my sister getting into a little, argument and the police were called. But I was never arrested, none of that, no police brutality. But it was the mannerism that made me go, I need to get up out of here. Plus, like I said, I lost my 2 jobs, so I was like, I need to go. And there wasn't any work for me. And when I saw that, after I went to those job interviews and thousands of people showed up, I said, I can't afford to be here now because I'm running out of money. And even if I did find a job here, the job market is so tough. At that point, there was no internet. A lot of people, they're coming at me on that video. You should do this, you should do that. I'm like, you guys, the internet wasn't popping 20 years ago. It wasn't all this, you can get on there and make all this money. And, as a matter of fact, the internet bubble was crashing 20 years ago. It was crashing. People were losing their money because they thought if they had a .com, they were going to be rich. But it turned out that if nobody comes to your .com, if you don't have traffic, then they're not interested. And now you can't keep up with that. So it was all about, like it is today, it's all about traffic. But just because you created a .com didn't mean that you were going to be wildly successful. And a lot of people found that out the hard way. Okay, so there's a lot of unconventional ways to make money now that there wasn't then. There was no drop shipping then. People make a lot of money off of drop shipping. Drop shipping wasn't a thing then. It wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? You couldn't go online on YouTube and make a bunch of money. 20 years ago, you really had to work for that. I mean, you really, really, really had to work for that 20 years ago. I mean, you had to have some type of niche. And like I said, that wasn't even popping 20 years ago. YouTube, not like that. Facebook and every other SEO. SEOs wasn't popping like that. So, a lot of people get on here and they have all these suggestions on what I didn't do. And I'm like, that stuff that you're talking about was not even available. You know what was available? Temporary services. Hospitals. But hospitals weren't hiring you unless you had a degree and a certificate of some type, unless you was anesthesiologist, phlebotomists and LPNs, RNs. I mean, then you were getting in the door, and some of them were struggling. Some of them were struggling, and I know they were because my sister is one. My brother is a phlebotomist, and my sister is I forgot what she is, but she worked in the hospitals. And she was struggling. I mean, they wasn't paying a lot of money. So I'm saying a lot of stuff these people are talking about from my video, you guys are a lot younger than I am. Some of you aren't even 30 years old. So when I was your age living in Atlanta, some of you weren't even thought about. Or you was 2 or 3 years old, so you didn't know what the job market was. But if you go back 20 years ago and look at the job market, it'll give you a rude awakening at what was available and what wasn't available. Here's how we used to find jobs back then. You'd go on the internet and look, and even when you did that, you're still competing with thousands of people who are out of work. Or you can go knock on doors, beat down doors, which is the old-fashioned way to do it. Or you can look in the newspaper. Now, they used to have these newspapers. They don't have these anymore. And these newspaper stands where they would be downtown and in public areas. And you would walk past, you would grab this newspaper, and it was just for jobs. The whole thing was just for jobs. And the majority of it was jobs that you weren't going to do. And some of it was scamming. They want you to show up and do all this work, and then it was all commission. And once you do one of them, you're just like, I'm never doing that again, because you ain't make no money. But they knew that. They just knew a bunch of people would come and they would get a couple days or a week's work out of those people, and then they wouldn't pay those people. They'd be like, yeah, you have to sell so many and all this. That's the kind of jobs that were there. Or you had, you sell windows or something for a subsidiary of Home Depot or Lowe's or something or knock on doors and sell, I'm telling you it was rough. Listen, Kanye West was selling knives. That's how Kanye West was getting money. He used to go door to door and sell knives. I'm telling you guys, 20 years ago, jobs were a lot harder to come by. Money was a lot harder. And we don't even want to start with the wage. Because you're looking at $8 an hour was a good thing. Try to make $8 an hour today. I kid you not. If you made $9 an hour 20 years ago, you were doing good. A lot of those jobs would have, they would post and say, we're going to have a bunch of employers come to this spot. Make sure you have your suit and tie on or whatever. Bring your resume. You get thousands of people to show up. There's so many people that showed up. There was this long-ass line of so-called lames because we all wanted a job. We're all lames, all dressed dresses and suits, and everybody hard shoes, standing out there trying to get in the door to get to these very, very few jobs. It was so crazy that the interviewer thought we were attacking her. She was just shaking, trying to write. We were hovering over this woman, literally hovering over the table, all vying for the same jobs. That's how bad it was. And this is in Atlanta. That's how bad it was. Nothing but a sea of black people. That's what I'm saying. You guys need to hold the phone and look at Atlanta's history before you come at me and talk about what I am and what I'm not. Because I was down there hoofing it. And you guys are like, well, you should have had a car. And it's like, okay. For one, when it comes, hold on. Let me change this music. Let's talk about the car situation. Let's talk about this. Because the car situation is important. But the MARTA, the bus system, let's understand this. The bus, okay, so the majority of jobs are on the bus line. All right? The majority of jobs in Atlanta are all on the bus line. And leading out into Decatur and all these other neighboring counties, the bus and the train took you to all of these places. I can't play this song. It's gonna be irritating. So when you're talking about, oh, you didn't have a car, that's the reason why you weren't successful. Listen, you can get on the bus or the train and go right up in the Buckhead, and you're a stone throw away from plenty of jobs that were there. And you can't tell me you can't, because I did it. You can go, you can catch the bus or catch the train, and you can pretty much go where you wanted to. Now, I had a bike, like a bike. A grown man. I had a bike. And so I would take my bike, hit the, go down to the bus stop, put my bike on the front of the bus, pay my fare, go to wherever I'm going. Let me turn this down. I would pay my fare, go to wherever I was going, and then get off, jump on my bike, hit it again, and go to wherever I was going, and I had a great time. So me not having a car in Atlanta 20 years ago didn't stop me from being successful. Because all the places, and like I said, all the places I wanted to go to were on the bus line or the train line or just a bike ride away. Everything I needed. Nowadays, manufacturing and stuff, you understand, Atlanta builds every second. Atlanta is building and building. There's more industry now than there ever has been. So if you took a panoramic picture of Atlanta now and compared it to Atlanta 20 years ago, you're going to see at least another fourth of the city has been built up since then. And then if you go outside of Atlanta, Alpharetta and all those other places, you're going to look at all those places have been built up because all the people that have come into Atlanta. Now, when you do that, you have to understand, in order for Atlanta to stay productive, they have to have a MARTA system that goes to these places. See, there's a lot of places that people are employed at. They're on or near a bus line right now today. And they have to be, because that's how the employer keeps people coming to them. If they don't do it, they're going to lose employees because cars break down, situations happen. There is a bus line to every major job in Atlanta and on the outskirts of Atlanta. The only places buses don't go is into rural areas. So some of you live in a rural area and you're like, well, you shouldn't have a car. No, you live in a very rural area. So yes, you have an automobile in order to get back and forth to work. I lived in Decatur, right beside the mall. I literally jump on my bike and cruise down the hill, and boom, I was at the mall and I would go watch a movie. So you didn't need a car to stay successful in Atlanta. You really didn't. And there are a lot of people, believe it or not, who live in Atlanta who don't have vehicles. They are. There are a lot of people who don't have vehicles in ATL, but I got along just fine. Now let me cover the female situation once again. I have a woman that somebody said I'm creepy, and no, I'm trying to figure out the definition of creepy and how I fit into that. Well, I walk around like this, I'm creepy. What makes me creepy? What, my nose? What makes me, how did I become creepy? You don't even know me. How did I become creepy? What did I do? What, I looked at your woman or something? No. This guy's creepy. How? What did I say that's creepy? What I talk about that's creepy? Please explain to me. No woman in Atlanta will want me. Really? There are so many women in Atlanta. You have your choice. Now, a lot of you say you ran into Transformers. What's going on, Russell? I want to wake people up to. There's another thing. For one, MHB, is that Manosphere? Is that the Manosphere channel? Let me tell you something about that. I don't do reaction videos. And I'm going to tell you why I don't do them. I don't do reaction. I don't take somebody's body of work, I don't. Oh, okay. I need to look that up. But I don't do reaction videos because I feel bad for the people who are not getting credit and they're not getting the likes. The algorithm is not hitting their channel when you take their video and then you just say a couple words over it. And some people don't even say anything. And they just let your video play, but yet they're like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content. I'm like, you didn't make the content. What am I subscribing to? A few words that you put into. So I have issues with that. But that's what YouTube has come down to. People are just snatching other people's work and then, making a face and stuff like that. I just think that's lazy to me. Not unless you have very valid points on a topic, but most of the time, most people don't. But let's see. Within the last 2 or 3 years or so, everyone has been doing videos about why they left Atlanta. I had no choice. My mother moved. My brother and me are here when I was 9 years old. Well, my video is what, 5, 6 years old? So I really didn't do it because it was trending. I I just saw another woman do it, and I said, well, let me share my experience. Like, I wasn't really looking for anything. I was just chilling one day on my steps outside and said, I want to talk about this because I lived in Atlanta at one time. And it went viral first on my other channel. And now it's going viral here. It's actually to a point where this video has got the channel you guys are looking at. When I look at the statistics, I'm at 10,586 people have viewed this, and 10,209 people alone just have viewed just that video within the last couple of days. So, I mean, I thought it would slow down. And when I seen it hit 4,000, I was like, okay. Then I seen it hit 6,000. I was like, 7,000. I was like, okay. Then it hit 6,000. I said, oh, the rush is over with. I'm at 10,044. It's just going up, and I appreciate it. I'm originally from New Hampshire. There it is. And my family also lives in, Dover, Delaware. Yeah, I knew some cats from Dover. I welcome to share your experience living in. Well, thank you. It's Atlanta. That bad. I was planning too much. Okay, Rico, I haven't lived there in 20 years. And if you look at my video, I'm not talking bad about Atlanta. I'm saying what my experiences were. So a lot of people are talking about the scammers. That wasn't popping back then. They're talking about how people are scamming you, and like scamming you is a real thing now. That wasn't happening back then. It was go out, get a job back then. It really, really was. It was if you're not out knocking on doors, handing people your resume, it was that type of atmosphere. It was really grassroots, go out and get a job type thing. Get on a bus, go to temporary services. Temporary services was the big deal because they can put you to work right now where you can get that check in a week. So that's what I did. I aimed toward the temporary service. As soon as I landed, I was just like, boom. And another thing, I didn't come here broke with nobody. Some people are like, you came there broke. I was like, for one, no, I didn't. For two, I had one of my ladies' friends help me move here, and I moved in with my sister. So I had a support group. I didn't just, there are a lot of people that go to these cities and think that it's going to work out. I wasn't, one of these people that just dropped off in Atlanta and said, hey, I'm here, everything should work out for me. That wasn't it. I was making phone calls. I made plans. Boom. I did everything the right way. My landlord when I left was the same landlord I got when I moved back. When I left him the right way. And when I was coming back, I said, hey, can I have my own apartment back? He said, absolutely. And because I didn't burn bridges. I didn't just stop, drop, and roll. You know what I mean? So when it comes to Atlanta, I never got robbed. I never got into a fight. I've been to 5 Points. I went to concerts. I had a good time. I had some of my lady friends come down. We had a good time. But when it came to certain things, Atlanta was not for me. The people, let me tell you something. When I was living in Atlanta, I wanted to have the Black experience. I did. I wanted to have the full-on Black, because that's what Atlanta was. Black people, like loving each other, getting along. That's what I thought. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's not what happened. There was only one person there that I was cool with. That was it. and I didn't have the black experience that I thought I would have, and it was disheartening to me. And so I said, well, I'm a Midwesterner. I need to head back to the Midwest and deal with the surroundings that I knew, that I'm familiar with, or go to Pittsburgh, go back, that way and deal with that. Because I didn't get the black experience that I thought I was going to get. I went to an HBCU. I didn't get the black experience there that I thought I was going to get, but it wasn't terrible. You know what I'm saying? It was just something I learned from. I was like, okay, Northerners or Midwesterners live a lot different than Southerners. And it's just really a culture thing. In Pittsburgh, how was the atmosphere? Moved to Nigeria? See, let me answer the Pittsburgh question first. I'm from there. So I get along, like I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand Pittsburgh. Women. If you can understand Pittsburgh females, you'll understand Pittsburgh. And that's really what it comes down to. And if the pace is faster than it is where I'm at now. But the thing about Pittsburgh women, and I don't know if there's any females on here, I don't think there is. But the females pretty much dictate the neighborhood and anywhere you go. If the females are with it, then the rest of everybody follows. That's just the way it is. So in Pittsburgh, if you knew the women to stay away from and the women to gravitate towards, you would do all right in Pittsburgh. Because these females are very social. They're going to, talk to each other. What's good? They're going to share information. That's just the way they do. So I got along with females from Pittsburgh because the thing about Pittsburgh women is what they don't do is they don't act like they're better than anybody else. They don't do that. And that's what I'm used to. And the pretty girls are the regular girls. And they'll talk to you. I mean, you'll get their number. They're the regular working, beautiful women. And I mean, you can take them out and everything. And sometimes they're even shocked that you said something to them. Those are Pittsburgh women. Those are Pittsburgh women. And I mean, you can get one like boom. And I'm talking about get a good one, and that's like your girl. So yeah, Pittsburgh's a whole different vibe. Because the thing about Pittsburgh is they know that there's not enough men to go around. And if you're working, if you're out there being productive, you're going to get yourself a good woman in Pittsburgh. You will. But you got to get that one chick. You get that one chick, you're good. Now, as far as Nigeria, I wouldn't move to Nigeria. I don't know enough about Nigeria. Well, let me say this. Let me say this. I can't say I don't know enough about Nigeria. But what I can say is there are pros and cons to moving anywhere in Africa. But as far as Nigeria is concerned, the one of the cons for me is one of the cons that I've heard of, I'm not even sure, was, for one, the corruption of the government. I come off as a Nigerian? Well, and that could be a compliment. But one of the things is the corruption of the government. That's one. I dated a couple women from Nigeria. They were beautiful. They're just awesome. So that's the pros. I know that they're still very tribal, so you could run afoul with a tribe and get in trouble. That's a con. I know it is very overpopulated. They changed their capital, but what was their capital, Logos, whatever that is, I know it was overpopulated. That is a con. A pro is there are as many women as there is men in Nigeria, and they die at the same age. So in most countries, there are more women than there are men, and the men die faster than the women. In Nigeria, that doesn't happen. The men and the women die at the same age, and the average age is around 68. Now, another pro to Nigeria is diseases. They didn't have a lot of epidemics that other countries had. They nipped it right in the bud. So there's that. So there are a lot of pros and cons that go with it. I probably would get along with people if I moved to Pittsburgh, but it gets too cold in the winter. It gets very cold in the winter. It's true. But it don't mean you can't date somebody from there. You go online, telling you can date somebody from there, and she'll go to where you're at. Trust me on that. If you're looking for a wife, just try Pittsburgh. Just try it. Just try it. And in the summer or in the fall, going down there, just try it. Because you're going to be hitting me up going, yo, I can't believe this. I'm trying to tell you. I was in, hold on, let me change my music. Yeah, just try Pittsburgh. I mean, if it's anything like it used to be, as a matter of fact, I keep thinking if I'm going to get married, for one, I need to get on this. I'm almost 60. And two, I need to go to Pittsburgh and find, I need to get on the ball and going down there. Okay. I was in the A in the early 90s, and it was a black man's paradise. Yes, it was. Yes, it was a black man's paradise. You come off as Nigerian, absolutely. I think you would like Ghana. Yes, I actually thought about going to Ghana. Much more than Nigeria. See, I heard that some people don't even make it out of Nigeria. Like, they'll take your passport and they'll come over as you. So I was like, wow, really they do that? Like, I know they do that in Jamaica, too. I heard good things about the country. Yeah, I thought about going to Ghana and Senegal. What's the best online dating? Blackpeoplemeet.com. Costs you about $8 a month. I found my wife in Washington, PA. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now let me explain the geographical area of Washington, PA. It's about maybe 20 to 30 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. It's about 20, 30 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. I'm telling you, listen, I can tell you where not to go in Pittsburgh. Okay, you don't want to go to Aliquippa. Ixnay on Aliquippa. Do not do it. Don't go to Aliquippa, Moon Township. Don't do it. Because if you find yourself a girl from there, you're going to run into a coochie trap. I'm telling you now, you're going to run dick long into a coochie trap. Let me explain it. You're going to run into a girl who has great sex. And you're going to be fooled by it. You're going to run headlong into a uterus, and it's gonna be a brick wall. And you're gonna think it's the best thing since sliced bread, and it's gonna be good to you, but it's gonna be bad for you. Not all of them are like that, but there are a lot of them that are like that. And if you want to go back to, back to Quit Town, don't go to any club. Because as soon as they see you with that woman, they're going to want to kill you. I kid you not. If you're not ready for that energy, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go to the Hill District. Do not do it. Don't do it. The Hill District is right downtown. It's right off of downtown. Anybody from Pittsburgh will tell you, do not mess with a woman from the Hill District. Don't do it. Maybe Homewood, but that's iffy, because the girls at Homewood that's some of the prettiest women I've ever seen. But it's still a hood. So if you like girls with a little bit of edge, you want to go to Homewood. You rock with some of those girls because they got some hood in them, but they got some good in them. Your wife from Garfield, yeah. I grew up in Garfield. When I was like, I still got nightmares about Garfield. I got nightmares about Garfield. Oh my God, Garfield. We had a fire in Garfield. We had a family fire in Garfield. I lived in a part of Garfield. Okay, so let me explain some parts of Garfield to you. For one, all of Pittsburgh is very hilly. Garfield has a hill of projects that looks like a spiral. And there's projects going up like a spiral. And I'm telling you, it looks like something out of a movie. And you're going up this hill, up this spiral, and it's just projects. And at the top of one of those hills is a high school and a middle school. I went to school, my brothers and sisters went to school up there, and we'd have to run up this dirt path to get, oh my God, I still got nightmares about that. Garfield High, yeah. McKeesport's not bad. That's outskirts. McKees Rocks, yeah, that's outskirts. Yeah, that's going in the outskirts. That's not part of the boroughs that are like on the inner parts of Pittsburgh. When you head into the inner parts where the boroughs are, that's where it can get a little rough for you. But there's some good women there, but they're in hiding. It's just hard to find those chicks. But once you do, man, I'm telling you, keep your dick in your pants. Because if you don't, you're going to get got. Don't go there thinking I'm about to knock some chicks down. Listen, they're going to offer you some leg. They'll be friends. They'll know each other and won't care. They will not care. They won't. They're going to offer you some of that leg. Boy, I'm trying to tell you, don't do it. Get to know them. The festival on the lakes, you mean at Three Rivers? So there's a Three River Stadium, and then I don't even know if Three River Stadium is still there. But there's, yeah. So Balloons Over Pittsburgh is one of them. The Regatta, yeah. Balloons Over Pittsburgh. But let me tell you something, there's festivals down there all the time. The art festival is down there. Go to the art. Yo, you want to meet some women? Go to the art festival. Go to the art festival. Like, go to cultured places. You know what I'm saying? You're going to meet a lot of baby mamas. But I'm telling you what, they're looking for good men. They're looking for good men. You're going to meet some baby mamas. You guys, you're going to do it. It's going to happen. If you go down Pittsburgh and you start going to the art festival, to the regatta, if you go down, if you start going to Three River Stadium, I don't even think the Three River Stadium is even there. I don't know. I ain't been there in a minute. But if you go around, see, the Three River Stadium area is where the Hill District is. So you got to be careful because there's a mix of good and bad that's right there. And the police on those areas, they think that everybody's a criminal. So that's a hard one too. If a chick lives around Three River Stadium, you gotta be aware of that because I got my skull cracked down there. Like literally, I still have a dent in my head from the police hitting me in the head. So you gotta be careful in that area. But he was cool, but he ended his own life messing around with them drugs. Yeah. Yeah, see, Three Rivers is torn down. Thank you. Three Rivers Stadium. But they built another stadium there, didn't they? But still, it's the area is what I'm talking about. Okay, so don't go to Duquesne. Don't go to Braddock. Don't go to Rankin. But if you go right outside of Braddock, okay, if you go outside of Braddock and you head across the bridge, you to the left, you're going to Duquesne. Don't go to Duquesne. There's nothing there. Just don't do it. Now, if you're right before you go down the Rankin Bridge, you go you're in Braddock, you go right down into the Bottoms. That's where I grew up at when I was a teenager. The Bottoms is there. There's nothing else there. Our projects are torn down. You don't want to go there. There's nothing but gangsters there now. It's over with. Rankin is just a project. Don't mess around with Rankin. Wilkinsburg, we lived in Wilkinsburg for a short time. Wilkinsburg is the hood. The police are aggressive in Wilkinsburg. Yeah, those hills. But if you come right out of Wilkinsburg, like you can walk out of Wilkinsburg, out of a black neighborhood right into a prominent, a well-to-do white neighborhood. Right there. One block. Boom. Right there. Now, we used to go there, actually, I went to middle school there. I forgot what it is. Is it Swissvale? I think it's Swissvale. So I went to school in Swissvale in middle school. Yeah, that's where Brian Chismar's from. So you got Swissvale, you got Churchill, and those are not far from the city. You can actually see the city from Wilkinsburg and Homewood, Wilkinsburg, Braddock, East Liberty. All those places are connected. It's almost a straight line. They're all almost on the same damn street. It's just a couple turns, and boom, you're in all those. Westinghouse High School. Westinghouse High School is in Homewood. It was an all-black school that used to whoop people's ass in football and basketball. But I don't think the school's open anymore. I think they got rid of it. Just like they got rid of Braddock High. Yeah, they got rid of Braddock High too. I didn't even go to Braddock High. My brothers and sisters did. That was a rough school. It was all black. There was a lot of fighting. They tore the school down. They couldn't take it anymore. And then they tore down the projects that was there. They told us all we had to leave. And listen, the way they did it was so smooth. The government was watching us. See, what's happening New York, when they're taking these projects away from these people, if you listen to Hassan talk about they're gonna take these projects away from y'all because y'all keep killing people and drugs and all this stuff. Listen, this is what happened to us. So I lived in what's called the Bottom. It was on a one-way street. There was 5 buildings, and they had a high rise. So they had A, B, C, D, and E building. The last building is where the old people lived, so it was a nice building. I lived in C building. I lived on the 4th floor. There were 7 floors to each, and there was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 6 apartments on each floor. And at one time, they were all full. We had a tennis court, a basketball court. We had a field that we could play football in. So, and there was one bus that came down there, which was the 94B or the 61B. And right beside it, that dead end, that's where the steel mill is. So if you look up the Pittsburgh Steel Mill and it's in Braddock, that's where I lived. You can look that up right now because it's still there. But right now there's another mill there. Where that other mill is, right beside it, that's where the projects were where I lived. But what the government did was they came down, white dudes, right? They came down and they surveyed us. And when they surveyed us, we were looking at them like, who are these white people? Because white people don't usually come down here. So we were looking at them, and they came, and then a week later, they came down and looked like hazmat suits. But what they did was they came down in these suits, and they painted the fences. They put up new fences. They cut the grass. They put up basketball nets. They put up tennis court nets. They didn't give us a basketball or tennis rackets. They painted the playground. They put flowers in. They did all that, and then they sat back and watched us. We tore it all down in 1 week. Shortly after, we got a notice to move out. So if you ever see that happening in any projects around you, they're about to tell all the people they have to leave, and they're going to tear them down and they're going to sell it. I'm just telling you, that's what they did to us. It was like, y'all just tearing stuff up. It's not worth it. And if you want to know the geographical location, if you ever heard of Kennywood Park is right across the river from Braddock, from the Bottom. You're moving away from the ATL next week. Where you moving to? Elfie, is that how you say your name? Elfie? I think Elfie's the only female on here. Elfie, where you going? Let me ask you this, Elfie. Let me ask you this. Wherever city that you're moving to, how much research did you do? I'm curious. Do you have any connections in the spot you're going to? Do you already have a job there? And I'm not asking you condescendingly. I want to know your whole moving, not the whole thing, but your process, because it's different than when I moved about. The spot that I'm in now, I've been here for over 10 years. Nashville. Okay, so you're going back home. Yeah, you're going back home to Nashville, Tennessee. My dad lived in Tennessee. My dad lived in Nashville, as a matter of fact. I don't know much about it, but that's where he lived. He lived in Nashville, but he just passed on. They just won the state in high school football. Westinghouse, okay. I don't know if it's the same. Hold on a second, bro. Hold on a second. I gotta look something up. I want to see if let me see where this is located at. Because like I said, I didn't know if it was still open or not. Notice the Academy of Westinghouse Academy in high school. Well, let me look at this map for a second because I think it's near Mertland and Monticello. Yep, there it is, Mertland Street. Yeah. Okay, it's the same Westinghouse. I'm about to say, because if it's near Mertland and Monticello, my aunt lived on Mertland and Monticello. And Westinghouse, you could look right at it. It was like right there. But, you know, whenever I would go see my aunt in Homewood, I never saw that school open. Never. Never once since I was running in and out of here have I ever seen Westinghouse open. That's why I said, I don't even know if they're, like, what's going on with them. Yeah, but it's on Mertland Street. Yeah, so my aunt lived right on Mertland and Monticello. Yeah, it's too big for me, and it's gotten dangerous. Yeah, Alfie. Now, here's the thing, Alfie. Here's the thing. Memphis. How? All right. So, let me ask you this, Alfie. How long have you been living in Atlanta? Because I'm asking that because in comparison to whatever part of Atlanta you live in, would you say, okay, for this one thing we know that Atlanta's crime is worse than New York. A year and a half, okay, so have you experienced any crime to yourself? Your car has been stolen, somebody scammed you, anything like that? Because I know Memphis gets down with the get down. Yeah, Wiz Khalifa's from here. He grew up on the streets, Chadworthy Avenue, yeah, Berwick Street, which is shown on the video, black and yellow. Yeah, he from Pittsburgh. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm asking, Alfie, because I heard, Memphis is, they get it in. My dad lived there, so that's the only time I really went to Memphis. But he just passed on a couple months ago, so I have no need to go there. But I didn't find anything. I wasn't really looking either. The times I hung out in Memphis, I was like, what do people do here? I was really trying to find what's the big draw for Memphis? That's what it was for me. Like, what's the big curiosity? Back to you directly. Okay. There was a shooting on my street while I was away. Yeah. See, that's when it's time to go. Because it's only a matter of time before, statistically, it's only a matter of time. If the frequency goes up, it's only a matter of time before, something comes flying through your window. Hold on a second, you guys. Good old Memphis. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, Alfie. Let me ask you this. What are you going, profession? I'm not trying to be nosy. I'm just interested in the transition. So, what do you do for a living? You don't have to be specific. If you say, I work in healthcare, then I get the point. You know what I mean? And like I said, so when I went to Atlanta, I didn't have a job. But my sister on my dad's side worked in healthcare. And like I said, I moved in with her. And I ended up working at the hospital as a receptionist, actually. So I did find work. I work for remote customer service. Okay, yeah. I get it. Yeah. Okay, so you can do what you want. See, like I said, like remote work. The remote work wasn't a thing 20 years ago. You guys gotta understand, I'm 55 years old this month. A lot of you guys are way younger than me. Way younger than me. So a lot of the opportunities that you have now, they were non-existent. You know how many of us would have been online working if we could get some remote work? There was none of that. We had to get out there in the rain, in the cold. We had to put our shoe leather to pavement. Man, I'm trying to tell you, we had to walk it out for real. I mean, you want to talk about 5 Points packed every day. 5 Points flood with people every day downtown. I had just so many people just trying to get, back and forth. But it was just like clockwork. It was in between 5 and 6. 5 Points was packed. It was just a packed spot. I don't know how it is now because I haven't been to the ATL in a long time. But that's the way it was. You know what I mean? Because so many people, we relied on the MARTA system. We relied on the train system. And that's how you got to work. That's how you came home. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And it went to all the places you needed it to go to. So like I said, a car wasn't pertinent. It just wasn't, what I'm saying? But it would have helped if I did have a car. Now my sister had a car. So there is that. I used to... Oh, in Wilkinsburg? I try to tell you, man, listen. Wilkinsburg women, Wilkinsburg and Homewood women, you'll find a star down there. You just gotta be careful. Because they're a little touched. But oh my God. That will always be, they hood. But, well, I'm trying to tell you, just keep it in your pants if you're going to go down there. Don't go down there and get to kissing on them girls. Don't do it. Excuse me, women. Don't do it, man. Keep all this to yourself. If you go down, I'm just warning you, because it ain't going to be nothing good that's going to come out of that. Not unless you got yourself like a good one. But if you rush into any of that, you're gonna get knocked in the head. You're gonna get knocked in the head, man. You're gonna get knocked in the head because if you go to Pittsburgh thirsty, you're gonna be in trouble. Because there is no shortage of beautiful women in Pittsburgh. There is no shortage. There is none of every flavor. And I'm going to tell you, I'm too old to do it now, but I used to go downtown I used to go to Oakland, and we used to hang out at Pitt University. Even when I would come back into town, I would always go to Pitt University because they had, there's a McDonald's there, there's a lot of eateries there, but they had one eatery in particular that had these long hot dogs and all these fries, just the greasiest food you can eat, but it was so good. And then when you would do is, you would sit on the wall outside and watch all the people go by and eat your food. And you see, just a collage of beautiful black people. If I was in my, young 30s and I was looking for like a cutie, I'd do it. Nashville's getting bigger. Hey, yeah. I don't know what the industry. I don't know what the industry draw to Nashville is. I guess that's what I'm asking. Yeah, what's the industry draw to Nashville? But yeah, like yeah, I'm telling you, if you go to Homewood, Wilkinsburg, East Liberty, so but you just gotta be careful. You just don't want to get your neck taken off. You'll find yourself a good woman, but you gotta sift, boy. You gotta sift, and it may take you a good year or so to find out if she's okay, because they're smart. They smart. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you from out of town. But like I said, don't go into Aliquippa. Don't do that. Don't go into Moon Township. You know what I'm saying? Don't go out. I mean, Swissvale's cool, but don't go out to Valley, way out there. That's way on the outskirts. Out to New Kensington. My family lived in New Kensington for a while. Don't do it. That was my mother's last dwelling place. Don't move out there. There's nothing there. Like there's literally, it's just a project. There's some houses, but those houses are owned by white people. The majority of them, they're owned by white people and they've been in their family for the longest time. Like there's not really an industry out there. Some people work for PPG, but those you're not getting into PPG. You're not. You know what I mean? It's just you're not gonna get into PPG. You know they got some other stuff out there, but it's just a hard. You're from Western PA. I know the whole area. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. You know, if you go out there to New Brighton, that's different. Beaver Falls and New Brighton, or as a matter of fact, Beaver Falls is now part of New Brighton. Now, I played football. That picture that you guys see of me, you know, my football helmet, I played for the Lions. You can go out to Bellevue. Bellevue's not bad. Bellevue is white girl territory. Yeah. So if you go out to Bellevue, you're not gonna find a lot of. Okay, so if you go to Bellevue, you'll find spots of black people, but those black people are gonna be corporate black people. Most of Bellevue is corporate white people. You got some hood white people out there too, but most of Bellevue is what? You're from Beaver Falls? What high school did you go to? You went to Beaver Falls? How old are you? How far is the border of Ohio from Pittsburgh? Well, we border the border of Ohio? Oh, I don't even know. How far is it? Well, yeah, okay, so let's do this. Geographically, Ohio is Midwest, Pittsburgh is East. So Youngstown is halfway in between Columbus, Ohio, and Pittsburgh, heading east. So Pittsburgh is about 2.5 hours from here. All depends on, the speed limit. 2.5, 3 hours. So you're 40 years old. You probably know some people I know, but I'm 15 years older than you. So yeah, you'll run right past Youngstown. So okay, so you're gonna hit 51 miles from here. You're gonna hit Zanesville, and about another 100 miles or so, you'll run into Youngstown. I'm not sure about that. You're running right into Youngstown, and boom, keep going. That's if you're going to go through the tunnels. So that's if you're going to come through to Pittsburgh through the east, and you're going to come down that hill, and you're going to run through the tubes. And then once you come out of the tunnel, you're going to see the city. So that's 70, to me, it's 70 east, and 70 turns into, I think, 279, something like that. One of you guys who still live out there can help me out with that. But I think that's what it turns into. Then it shifts. And once you come in through the tunnels, you can either keep going straight. If you veer off to the right, you're going to go right up to Oakland. So as soon as you come out, you're going to go down this little dip, then you're going to hit this corner. Once you start heading uphill, you're heading into Oakland. So there that is. If you go straight, I think you're going to go downtown, and then that's where you're going to see the Three Rivers, where all the Three Rivers come together. So if you keep going straight, it'll slow you down. You'll be in the city limits, and you'll see right where all that action is for Three Rivers. It's going to be right there. So it's just a one-shot deal to downtown. But like I said, if you head right, then you're going to hit Oakland. And if you keep going past Oakland, you're going to run into right outside of Oakland, because Pitt sits right there. That's what Pitt University is. And right outside of, in Oakland is another white, ritzy kind of, middle-class area. So don't mess around there, too much, because you'll get jacked up by the police. But it's a cool place. It's a cool, non-violent place to see a collage of beautiful people. So if you ever just want to go to Pittsburgh and chill, go to Oakland. And just during the day, chill out. Downtown is not far. It's a chill spot. It's a chill spot. You know what I'm saying? But if you keep on that road, you're going to head up to... that's when you're going to head into... well, if you keep going, you'll run into Swissvale, Wilkinsburg, Braddock. You cross the bridge, you run into Duquesne. I forgot what's after Duquesne, so I haven't been there in a while. Yeah, so Beaver Falls, we played okay, so my school didn't play Beaver Falls. Hold on a second. I think we did. Okay, we didn't play Aliquippa. So yeah, we didn't play Aliquippa, but I think we played against Beaver Falls. But what they did was, after I graduated, they made Beaver Falls and my school, like, they put them in the same district. So now it's all part of Beaver Falls. So what you had there was, you had New Brighton. Right next to us was Beaver Falls. And then right next to them was Beaver. So Beaver are a bunch of cake eaters. They're rich white people that live in Beaver. And they were racist as hell. I had an opportunity to go and play for Beaver, but I didn't want to because I knew they was racist as hell. Probably to see their picture or something. But, I knew Birdman in that. So, Birdman was a track star back then. He was really fast. But this is back in 86. You know what I'm saying? This is back in 86. But so you have Beaver Falls, Beaver, shoot. I forgot some of the names of schools, but yeah, I was trying to name the 10 schools we played at. Riverside. We played against Beaver. We lost against Beaver. Okay, Rochester was next to us. So you could walk to Rochester. So, yeah, you could walk to Rochester. They were our neighboring school. They were also, but they weren't our rivals because we kicked their ass in football all the time. So we would beat Rochester. Wasn't our rival. Our rival was Riverside. They beat us 26-6. They kicked our ass. But I don't know if you ever heard this name before, James Law. If you look him up, James Law was the fastest man in the state during that time. And James Law ran a 10.29 on gravel. Drink that in. Yeah. Drink that in. 10.29 on gravel. A gravel track with big ass spikes on. Yeah, he was really fast. I raced him. I got blown away. I got dusted. It wasn't even funny. He just laughed at me. And I couldn't blame him. Leader rusher, I know, Essex Law. I don't know if they're related, but James Law. Okay, so James Law's cousin, also, he went to school with us. And his cousin's name was Mondell. He's passed on now. But his cousin's name was Mondell. And what's really something about, I talked to James Law and I asked him how he got so fast. And he says, I don't know. He said it just happened. And I thought about that. I was like, how did it? It was like a superhero. It was like something out of a comic book. He's like, I have no idea how I got so fast. He drank, he smoked, he partied, he didn't care. And he was, in the 10th grade, he was running average times. He wasn't the fastest dude at all. Nobody heard of him in the 10th grade. In the 11th grade, he won the state in 3 events. The 1, the 2, and the 4. He ran a 47 flat in the 4. Excuse me? A 10.29 in 100 and a 21.6. He was ridiculously fast. And he was like, I have no idea. Couldn't play football to save his life, though. Yeah, leading rusher. Yeah, they're probably related. Now, here's the thing. I ran, when I was a senior, Mondell was in the 10th grade. He's in the 10th grade, right? So we would go to track practice, and sometimes it'd just be me and him. We'd run sprints. And I was like, I can beat this dude. But one time we went to the college, it was just me, him, the coach. And, I wasn't really worried about him. We were doing like 60s. So I take off, boom. I knew I had it, bam, nothing. Take off again, nothing. The third time, he ran past me like I was standing still. And I was like, okay, I need to run harder. Boom, did it again. He ran right past me. I never beat him in a race after that day. And I looked at him and I said, what happened? Like, how are you doing this? The same thing happened to him, happened to his cousin. He was running in the 11s after that. I never beat him again. It's something in the laws, their family genes, it kicks in the 10th and 11th grade. And I watched it happen right in front of my face. Now, Mondell passed away because he got shot. Yeah, he got shot, killed. But, yeah. Yeah. So, the Pittsburgh area is cool, you guys, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful in Pittsburgh, like anywhere else. But, if you go to the right spots, you'll have a lot of fun. You have a lot of fun. Need a lot of, people. I don't know if Mr. Adams is still here, but I think that I don't know anything about Palm Beach, Florida, but Florida is something. Yeah, Mr. Adams, being that we're the same age, and you know, I'm single, I know what you're going through. I know what's happening to you. And I think, I think you're thinking about the clock. You're thinking about where I'm going to be in 10, 15 years. And, when your body starts breaking down, 70, 80 years old, you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be in that nursing home with nobody coming to visit you. I think that's what's on your mind. So now you're like, I need to find somebody to marry me so I can, I still got some good years where I can take care of them and solidify a good relationship, build wealth with them. But I know that's going to go downhill in 10, 15 years. So I know exactly what's going on. You're trying to, that nursing home is no joke. Hey, as soon as my dad went to a nursing home, he died. 2 weeks later, he was dead. He died at 77 years old. So I know exactly what you're talking about. He died in Memphis. But let me say this. You better pray about it first, bro. Because my dad died alone. He married a woman. He helped raise her 5 children and his, not me though, and his. He went to work like a dog for this woman. She didn't hardly have to work at all. Helped raise her children, helped put them through college, and then he got sick, and that woman left him in that house. And then he was like, he wanted her to come back, and she was like, no. Her kids came and got her, and boom, she was out. She left him in a chair where he couldn't move. He had to call his children, from his first marriage, and me. I'm his oldest and his only son, and he was calling me, and me and him hardly talked, but he was calling me, and we had to go down there and take care of him. And then he got fly with me, so I was like, I'm not coming back. And once they take him to the hospital, get him situated, then it was like, you can't take care of yourself. You need assisted living. That didn't work. It was like, it's a wrap for you. And before they put him in to the nursing home, he told his wife, I want a divorce. She said, that's fine. I still get your check from Goodyear because that's who he worked for, and I want the house. She didn't give a damn about him, homie. She didn't give that one damn about him. And then when he died, one of her sons hit me on Facebook and said, I'm sorry about your loss. I said, I highly doubt that. That man raised you when your no good daddy wasn't even nowhere to be found. So be careful, man. Like, I know what you're feeling, and I know you're almost to a point where, like, I really need to have a female to help me out down the road, but it's not guaranteed. Because when the rubber met the road and the fits hit the shan, that woman left my dad. And his legs were all swollen up. He couldn't stand. All he could do was lay there and sleep every day. He couldn't get up, and he used to cut down trees and do all this stuff. You know what happened to him? Heart failure. His legs swelled up because his heart was failing. Last job he had, he was a bus driver, and when he was he went to the yard, he was doing his inspection on his bus, and then he sat down in the seat to drive, and he sat there, and he was there for 2 hours. He was just sitting there, and they came to look for him, and they found him just sitting there. He couldn't even move, and that was it. They was like, you can no longer drive a bus. That's it. So it was rough for him, for a man that worked at Goodyear for 36 years, had 2 paper routes, was climbing, cutting down trees, and all this other stuff for him to go out. I mean, he was hurting. He was hurting so bad because he couldn't stand at all. I definitely want to relocate from Atlanta and start a new life and meet new people. I live with my yeah. So you gotta make sure old girl knows that. I mean, are you gonna move grandmother with you? Grandma's 84. Like, is she moving with you? Probably be the best thing because you got that back. Yeah. So now what? That's rough. That's gonna be a hard one, homie. But I feel you. And that's mom's too. It's not grandma, that's mom's. Okay. Yeah, that's a rough one, man. But here, right now, meeting women online. Yeah, Hassan Campbell, he's cool. But I'm gonna tell you something. Hassan Campbell, I used to listen to him until he started talking crazy about Jay Prince. I will be at home until she transitions. Then I will sell the house. Okay. That don't mean you gotta wait to start a relationship though. Because, she might be eating them good greens. She might be eating them good greens. Bro, them greens will keep you alive. Mama might not go nowhere for another 10, 15 years, so I don't know. My mother passed from cancer, so. But, yeah, Hassan Campbell, man, I was with Hassan because he was talking about New York, and I was really into it. And, Hassan was also talking about how African Bambaataa had, was doing stuff to Hassan. Like when Hassan was a kid. Like Bambaataa was, I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, not African Bambaataa. Iata, ya yo, Iata. Not that dude. He was like, yeah, that dude. And he was talking about how he had a relationship with him. And he was, a youngin'. I was like, oh, man, my head just, that hurt to hear. But that's when I was paying attention. But I liked when he was talking about the projects and what was going on. But when he turned me completely off to him is when he was talking about how one of Jay Prince's artists caught $150. He's running around in New York. One of them young dudes, cat saw him, snatched his chain, gave him $150. And then Jay Prince, came out talking about mob ties. And he was like, mob ties, get his brother his chain back. And he was talking about, give him his chain back. I think it was Almighty Jay. And he was like, yeah, get Almighty Jay his chain back. And Hassan was like, well, wait a minute now. There's all kind of stuff going on in the city, and you gonna come out because of a chain? He's like, I'll spit in your face. And that's when I left a comment. I said, you need to chill because Jay Prince don't know who you are. And you asking for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You talking about spitting in dude's face if you saw him. I was like, he don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking sideways. You know what I'm saying? And it just sounds real crazy to me. Like, you're not going to spit in Jay Prince's face. and you know it. So let's just not even talk that way. Like you're not that dude. You're not that dude. Yeah, I ain't finished this project yet. But a lot of his other content I did like. I liked how he was getting down with the get down. I think he had a fish tank too. Didn't he have a fish tank in the background? Yeah, he all right there. Yeah. But he's making, you guys understand, I don't make any money off of this right here. And a lot of those guys make content just to make money off of it. Like, I don't have enough subscribers on this channel to make money. My other channel makes money, but it doesn't make a lot of money. So what I'm saying is, I don't really do this for the money. This is why I don't do a lot of reaction videos and stuff like that. I don't really do it for the money. I'm gonna tell you honestly what I get paid. I make $100 every 8 months off of YouTube. Like this is it. That's not even a tertiary or my third income. And I don't like count on it. At one time I did, but I don't go. You know what I'm saying? I don't make big plans for that $100 that's gonna come in. It's just when it hits, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. You'll be at home until I remember that. Hassan Campbell, aka Poppy, became very disrespectful. I was like, Hassan, you gotta do. What do I do for a living? I'm a disabled veteran. So I get my check once a month. And I fix appliances. So what I was gonna do is start an appliance channel. I was just gonna call myself, I don't know, DIY guy or something like that. Or I was gonna post on here. I don't know if you guys like DIY stuff, but I'm a DIY person. I have a degree in health administration, but I can't really find anything I want to do with it. Plus, I get age discriminated against. So there's that whole thing. But appliances is my hustle. So I'll buy a refrigerator. If it's fixable, I'll go ahead and fix it. You know, even though the market is down, I think the market's going to go back up. So I flip appliances. The majority of the time when I buy a fridge, it's already working. But what I do that's better than my competitors is when I sell them a refrigerator, I give them a warranty. So I give them a 15-day warranty. That way, 15 days, you know it works. Hell, you know it works, in 2 days. But that helps me sell. So if something goes wrong, even after the 15 days, I'll at least, ask them what's wrong. If they say, hey, I bought this off you a month ago, it's no longer working, I can diagnose most of the time over the phone or, over the internet what the problem is. And then I can tell them how much it would cost for me to come and fix it. And I'm a lot cheaper than the regular refrigerator guy. So that's what I do. Leave America if you have money. America is... Well, let's talk about that. Let's drink that in. Let's go ahead and absorb that. I'm hungry. I want to eat. Let's absorb that. Leave America and go where? Where are we going? I thought about going to Ghana, but before I go anywhere, okay, for one, I have an income that goes with me, but it's not a lot. But if I go to the DR or if I go to China or if I go to, Africa, I'm still going to get my check. I still get my check. It's not a lot, but it's enough to keep me. It's okay. So my check it covers the majority. What it does is it covers my rent and it covers like my light and you know what I'm saying? And my hustle covers everything else. So I can go anywhere and fix refrigerators. But I still have to be very mindful of an appliance market. You feel me? I still need to be able to buy and sell for me to keep my head above the water. If I go to another country, I need to learn the different voltage. Like I used to live in Germany. Germany is 110. Their voltage is different. So it's just a whole scale of things that I would have to do if I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing now. I know places to move to, but I don't want other people going, why even tell us that? They're taking all the wealthy to Mars. Well, good luck getting to Mars. Let me know when you get to Mars. They ain't going nowhere. They're not going to Mars. I guarantee you they're not going to Mars. I'll put every dime I got that they will not make it to Mars. Not now, not tomorrow, not next year, not 500 years from now. They will never go to Mars. It will never happen. I don't care what spaceship you build, you're not going to Mars. Venus, Pluto, Uranus, you're not going to none of those. I'm telling you, you're not. You will never set foot on Mars and build nothing. You're not going to do it. What they're doing, let me tell you what they're going to do. I'm neither. Let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to build these spaceships. Then they're going to build, they already have so there are space stations, right? We have space stations where we dock at when we go up there. One of those space stations is about to come down. They're going to send it, crash it into the sea. That's where it's going to go. They're building another space station. So the rich are going to fly up and they're going to dock at these space stations. And that's going to be their home away from home. But that's going to cause a whole array of issues. One, weightlessness. Just weightlessness in itself is going to be a problem. So what they're going to have to do, y'all got me off on a whole other thing here, but what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to build atmosphere machines, and they're going to have to build gravity machines. And it's probably going to be all in one. That's what they're going to do. They're going to have to build atmosphere and gravity machines. They're going to have to find a way to make gravity. Now, they can make a huge, the thing about space is it's so dangerous because there are objects that are moving 35, 40,000 miles an hour and they ping off each other. They don't stop. And here's the thing about it. You think that, there's these big, huge craters. No. It could be something that's the size of a Volkswagen. But if that Volkswagen is moving at 35,000 miles an hour and runs into you, it's going to cause catastrophic damage. This is why you don't see all these huge monstrosities of building out in outer space. Is because there's a lot of space junk. There are over 300 satellites that are in space, and they're going. And every now and then, they'll fall to Earth, and they'll be the size of a Volkswagen. They'll fall right down to Earth. Bam! Hell, one just fell in this lady's house. Happens all the time. So I'm telling you, it's not what they make it seem, and they're never going to land on Mars. It's not even possible for them to go to Mars. They just keep talking about it because they want you to believe that it's possible. They want you to believe that the solar system that they made up is real, and it is not real. Well, CV is real. It's a real thing. It really happened. But everything they said about it was not real. Here's how we know this. For one, CV was a thing long before the pandemic. And I'm going to tell you how you know. I'm going to tell you how you know this. How do you know this? It was around long before then, because you can look on the back of a Lysol can and it'll say it kills CV. So how long has it been there? It didn't happen because people from China were eating bats. Do you know it's illegal to eat bats in China? But yet they have a soup that's made off of bats. You can get arrested for that. What happened with CV was it's been around for the longest time, and what they did was they mutated it to make it airborne. Once it became airborne, it became a problem. But they did that. They engineered that whole thing. Dr. Fauci and all of them. It was on some, we need to, quell the numbers, knock our numbers down. But here's what bit them in the ass when it came to CV. The number of people it knocked off were mostly white people. White people are in a crisis, and they're scrambling right now to have more children. In Germany, they're paying couples to have children. In Russia, there are 10 million single women because the men are falling off like flies. Here in America, the divorce rate and the childbirthing rate, the divorce rate is high. The childbirthing rate has dropped 2%. 5 years ago, the Caucasian population was 245 million. Now the Caucasian population is 231 million. In 1 year, they lost 6 million people. How? CV, war, diseases, car crashes, violence amongst themselves, and fentanyl. Fentanyl changed the game. Fentanyl is a white man's problem. Even though all races take it, the majority of people who are affected by it are white people. Black people don't even make fentanyl. This is a white man's problem. And because fentanyl wiped out so many people, now you hardly hear about CV. You hardly hear about it. Remember when they said CV mostly killed black people? And they spread the nasty rumor that black people were the ones who were spreading it. And when they did that, the people in China went and kicked out all the black people that were in the apartments. All the Africans that were living over there, they kicked them all out. They said, you are now homeless. Kicked all those black people out because they said that the black people were the ones who were spreading it. No, here's what happened. Black people most of the time live in close proximity to each other, meaning the projects. So the numbers of so-called deaths of black people went up because in New York you have a lot of projects. That's where those numbers came from. So the news tried to once again blame something on black people that wasn't true. And then of course, we know that it wasn't true. We know where it came from. We know who spread it the most. And we know it had nothing to do with black people spreading it. I got an argument with my doctor because she wanted me to, take the, thing. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, there's no research done on it. I told her, I said, give me the research that you have on it and I'll consider it. She's like, you're the type of person that's going to go out and kill people because you didn't take it. I was like, I'm not going to do it. And now look at it. Now they're looking at, they look, all the people that they fired because of CV, they owe all those people money. Kyrie Irving didn't want to take it. What did they do? They sat him down. And now because he didn't take it, you owe him all his back wages. So what they do, come out with some BS about him sharing a tweet about some anti-Semite BS. And it's just like, you guys don't even know the definition of anti-Semite. You have no idea let's look at the definition of anti-Semite. See, you done got me on a whole, this is 10 videos in one. Let's look at who can call who an anti-Semite. Put on my glasses. First, let's look up who is a Jew, right? Let's look at the definition of Jews. Let's do that. Let's do that. I remember the people of the culture of the community whose traditional region is Judaism and who trace their origins through the ancestor of Hebrew people, of Israelite and Abraham. All right? Those are the Jews, the people who are Israelites and Abraham, right? Okay. Now, let's look at definition of Jewish. Jewish people, relating to, associated with, or denoting Jewish people or Judaism, Jewish people. Okay, so Jew and Jewish people, right? Judaism, same people. Their father is Abraham, right? Okay. Now, let's look at who's who. So, what we got the Hasidic Jews. What do they call themselves? You see if I can get this right. Hasidic Jews. Hasidic Jews. Present day Hasidic. Am I saying that right? Hasidism is a subgroup with a Judaism, and it is noted for the religious and conservatism of social seclusion. Its member, blah blah blah. Just saying that they're just saying that they're socially secluded. So if we look at, let's look at Jewish converts. Remember, the father is Abraham, right? Let's look at the Jewish converts. And who are they? Conversion to Judaism, meaning you converted to Judaism. The process by which a non-Jew adopted the Jewish religion and became a member of the Jewish population, pretty much, or community, and thus resembling both conversion and other religions and naturalization. So basically, the people who convert to Judaism. Now, when you look up Jewish convert, you see a picture of what? Hasidic Jews. White people with the thing on their head. That's who they are. You do not see any black people with a thing on their head and calling them Jewish. So the white people are converts to Judaism. They converted to it by a king that they had, and he wanted to know more about the Jews that were in Israel. Now, if you look at Israel and look at its location, you'll know very quickly that there is no way on God's green earth that these people who are converts were the same people of Abraham. Just not even close. Abraham's people came out of the Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent is where dark-skinned people were. How in the hell did these people become Jewish? They converted to it. These people are actually Russian. They're called Russian Ascasians. That's who they are. And they converted to Judaism. Hey, what's going on, Terminator? And they converted to Judaism. They have nothing to do with it. They made themselves. Now, when you look at that, and then you go and you look at all the activity that happened with CV, you're going to notice that so there was a funeral in 2020, and the so-called Jewish conservatives, the ones with the black hats, they came out, the Hasidic Jews came out and they marched down the street. Now, one of them had a mask on, and this was in New York, broad daylight. The police didn't bother them. But if you can remember, during those same time, the police were arresting black men for just sitting on the curb, minding their own business because they didn't have a mask. All of this is connected. Why didn't you arrest the Hasidic Jews walking down the middle of the street with not one permit to walk down the middle of the street? Not one. They just got up and walked down the middle of the street and looked right at the cops and dared the cops to say something to them. When's the last time you heard about one of them being accosted, arrested, beaten up, shot by the police? When? That's because they control the police. They also control the banking system. They also claim that they are the real Israelites, which is a complete lie. It's a 100% lie that they are the ones who the Bible is talking about. And they're over in Jerusalem by force. And then you got the Middle Eastern Jews. They're not the Jews of the Bible either. So you got the ones who are Khazars, those are the white Jews, and you got the ones that come out of Kedar. That's where Muhammad came from, the Prophet Muhammad, who is a caliphate. So when somebody is a caliphate, they are a king. And Muhammad, what was interesting about him, not the Torah, but the Quran. Okay, let's go with the Torah. The Torah was written by the Hasidic Jews. The Torah is a book it's 31 books, and it's all Jewish arguments. That's what it is. That's what the Torah is. The Quran was written 500 years after the Bible. Now, when you look at the Quran and you look at, Muhammad himself, who is a caliphate, Muhammad said there can be no other caliphate but me, meaning there can be no other king but me. So somebody comes after them, they're a crypto caliphate. There can be nobody at his rank except him, the Honorable Prophet Muhammad. Now, when you look at that, there are a lot of Muslims out there. I got nothing, against Muslim, peace be upon them. But when I went downtown and argued this with Muslims, and they came up with their whatever, and I was like, you guys, you're in trouble. Because you don't believe. So one Muslim argued with me and said, Jesus didn't die on a cross. He said it was another man that took Jesus' place. And I said, who is the man who died on the cross in Jesus' place? He said, huh? I said, who was the man? Now, that was a black Muslim I was talking to. Now, the Middle Eastern Muslims, even though I bring up the fact that when their version of the Bible was created, they still didn't really have an answer for it. Why would you write this book 500 years after the Bible came out that mirrors the very Bible and then say that Jesus Christ did not die for our sins? They believe Jesus Christ was a prophet and he died just like everybody else. So they don't believe that he was the lamb that was slain. And that's the biggest difference between the so-called Christianity and Muslims. One believes that Jesus Christ came, died, and rose back up. The other one believed that Jesus Christ died. And the Jewish believe that Jesus died and now he's in hell. So that's the Hasidic Jews. The black Jews believe Jesus Christ died, came back, and went to heaven. The Middle Eastern Jews believe that Jesus Christ died and he's in a grave. Those are your three main religions. But the ones that control the wars, they control the bank, they control oil, they control the presidents. Listen, the president is not in control. What president do you know is in control of anything? Look at Pearl Harbor. Let's just start there. When Pearl Harbor happened, even the soldiers were guessing if the president knew it was going to happen. When Pearl Harbor happened, there's no way a group of airplanes flew under the radar and flew right into one of the most heavily guarded bases that there is in 1948. And then sank our major battleships. And then when those battleships sank, especially the biggest one, which I think was the Arizona. Oh, I might be wrong on the name of it, but when the Arizona sank, it had soldiers on it. And while it was sinking, the soldiers were banging on the walls. And the people could still hear them banging on the walls while it was going down. And they didn't die of water coming in and drowning. They died of starvation. And then we go into war. And then, I mean, when you really get into it, you look at the Black Star Line, not the Black Star Line, the White Star Line Company, which was the White Star Line, which had the Lusitania and the Titanic. And I mean, there's a lot that goes to that. And when you look at what those ships were doing, one of those ships was a ferry boat. And it was carrying ammunition. And when it exploded, boom, we jumped into the war. There's just a whole bunch of information there that didn't make sense. And then when we go over to Japan, we drop a bomb on Hiroshima. And then we tell the Japanese emperor to surrender. Or we're going to drop another one. He doesn't surrender. We drop one on Nagasaki. Let's fast forward. 1991. Saddam Hussein wants to go to war with his neighboring country. The president, Bush, Daddy Bush, tells Saddam Hussein, if you go over there, we're going to come, after you. And he gives him warnings. We're going to come after you if you go over there. Saddam Hussein was owed money for his oil, and he wanted to collect. Saddam Hussein was also a dictator that was set up by us, the CIA. We invade them and then go destroy Saddam Hussein and then kill a bunch of people in the Middle East. And then we kill Gaddafi, and we so-called kill old boy from 9/11, but we didn't kill him. His children are still here. His grandchildren are all Americans. The one who did the towers, him, yeah, he's not dead. We killed him and then we splashed his body in the ashes in the ocean, so we have no evidence. Huh? Is that what we did, Obama? Is that what we did? No, that's not what we did. We invade the Middle East because we wanted to destabilize them. It's the same ruse that's been happening over and over again. And if you go all the way back to the Roman era, you can see the same thing happen. What did the Catholic Church do? The Catholic Church told the Roman army, for one, the Catholic Church didn't want nothing to do with the Roman army. They wanted to keep them out of Rome. The Catholic Church wanted to be its own entity. So the Catholic Church made the Magna Carta. And they told the Roman army that there are infidels in the holy city of Jerusalem. So King Richard the Lionheart went, gathered up his army, and marched all the way over to Jerusalem to fight against Saladin. Now, even before that, Jerusalem was fighting amongst each other, East and West Jerusalem. Long before the Romans got there. They were split, they were fighting amongst each other. But when the Romans first got there, 1.5 of them fled out of Jerusalem because the Romans were eating people. They were committing the most heinous atrocities that there were. They were eating the black people, eating them. And where did they fly? Where did they flee to? They fled to Egypt. And once the Egyptians saw that the Jews, the black Jews that came out of Jerusalem, once the Egyptians saw the Jews and they saw how they multiplied, they captured them. Now, if you go and look at the book of Deuteronomy, you'll find all of this. how God says what was going to happen to them and how it happened, and it's all the same timeline. And you can look at the Bible and look all in the timeline, and you can match it all the way up until today. And a lot of stuff that's happening, the Jewish people were behind it, and they still are. A lot of the wars that are happening, Jewish people. The Catholics and the Jewish people are all behind it. Listen, the Catholics convinced not only the Roman army to go and march on Jerusalem, they also had a crusade that was nothing but children. A bunch of Roman children had a crusade. And they had the crusades were such a big thing to do, go and steal and kill and all this other stuff, because you kept the loot. But the Catholics colored it as a holy war. The infidels are over there, go and kill the infidels and kick them out of Jerusalem. Well, at one point that, they succeeded, but you have to understand when they went over there one time, boom, and then they came back, and then the Catholics said, hey, go back over there because now the infidels there. So first you go over there and you kick all the black people out. This is how the black people lost their position in where they were. And you got to understand, those black people came out of Mesopotamia. And then when you look at who came out of Mesopotamia, you lead that bloodline all the way back to Abraham. His people went in Mesopotamia, and the reason why they came out of Mesopotamia is because there was a famine. And that's what happened. Those people, when they came out of there, they settled in Jerusalem, boom, they came out of there, they went into Egypt, and once the Romans went over there, the Romans didn't hold it, then boom, the Middle Easterns, the people out of Kedar came in, the Middle Eastern people, and they bring their religion, boom, they set up. And if you look at the book of Revelations, it talks about the people of the Middle Eastern and how they have their buildings that, look Middle Eastern. God's talking about you are not the same people, the original people from there. It's all in the book of Revelations. It's all in the book of Revelations. And so, boom, Richard the Lionheart goes back over there, and he goes over there to fight against Saladin. Boom. I think they had like 2 or 3 wars. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But they go and they take back the holy city from Saladin, right? Once they took back the holy city from Saladin, what they do? They turn around and march right back home. Because they couldn't hold it. They couldn't hold the Middle East. They couldn't hold Jerusalem. So then what happened? So you have Middle Easterns in Jerusalem claiming that they're Jews. You're not Jews, you're Muslims. If you look at the fight that's going on over there right now, it's between 2 people who are claiming that they're the people of the Bible. The Hasidic Jews are saying, we're the people of the Bible. The Middle Eastern Jews are saying, we're the people of the Bible. And they're all completely ignoring history that they all know. But they went over there and they changed buildings and they did all this other stuff and they pray on that wall and they, and all this other stuff that they do. And they completely try to hide the fact that none of you people are dark-skinned people. None of you people look like you're the people from Egypt. In Egypt and the Jews are 2 different people. This is why Africans and African Americans have an issue. Because the Egyptians were the Africans and we're the African American Jews. They're the ones who enslaved us. There's just a lot. And CV has something to do with this, is because when you look at who's controlling what, you have to go all the way back in history and look at who can control what. You understand, the Jewish people were kicked out of 109 countries. Why? For one, according to the Bible, you're not supposed to charge anybody interest. The Jews, wherever they went, charged people interest. So they were contrary to the Bible itself. And then when you start looking at what Bible that you're coming from, you're like American Standard, blah, blah, blah. Most people go to King James, and they're going, King James was white. It was just like, once again, you need to look at the Bible and then look at history of King James, and then look at his mother and his father. They were both dark-skinned people. And one of them came out of Scotland. When you look up the movie, The Last King of Scotland, Last King of Scotland was played by who? Forrest Whitaker. How is this possible? That Forrest Whitaker is as dark as me, and he's playing the last king of Scotland. Because King James was a black man. But they cover all this up and made King James a white guy. There's a bunch of people in the Bible that are all black people. And you know the black people when you start looking at their bloodline. Paul, if you look up a picture of Paul right now, Paul from the Bible, who got stoned a couple times, Paul who had his head cut off, Paul who was a Roman citizen, Paul was black. He's a black guy. They're all black. Jacob, all of them. But the Hasidic Jews will make you think that they were all white people. Paul's a black guy. All of them were. And Paul said where he came from. He's like, I'm a Benjamite. Let's look up what color Benjamites were. What color were the Benjamites in the Bible? You asked me a loaded question. I'm trying to give you the short of it, but there's a lot of information. I bet you didn't. Tribe of Benjamin. Characteristics, symbols, history, study. The scriptures do indicate that the Benjamite was Jacob's second favorite son after Joseph. Eventually, Jacob is forced to relent. Okay, so they came from the line of Jacob, right? What nationality is the tribe of Benjamin? Benjamin. They're Hebrew. It's a Hebrew tribe, right? So we know that nationality. Who are some black characters in the Bible? Let me see if they give us this. No, Noah was dark skinned. Noah's played as a white man. Biblical characters such as Adam, Eve, Solomon, Joshua were all dark skinned people. Adam, Eve, Solomon, Joshua were all dark skinned people. Black. We're all dark skinned. I'm still trying to figure out if they're gonna. Yeah. What color was Paul? They're all dark skinned people. What was Paul's skin color? Did Paul have black skin? Paul have dark skin? Okay. The Bible tells us that Paul was mistaken for a who? Egyptian. A descendant of Ham. The Egyptians were what? Dark-skinned people. So why is you never see Paul depicted as anything other than white man When the people say that the Bible doesn't mention race, it means they either haven't looked closely enough, or they don't want to have their eyes open to the truth. The ethnicity of Paul was a free-born Hebrew that had Roman citizenship. This is important because not every Hebrew in Rome had citizenship. He was a black man. Period. Dot. But they try to whitewash this. But this is one reason why I didn't mess with CV. Because I didn't believe what they were telling me. And I watched Dr. Fauci make a bunch of money. And now they're trying to prosecute Dr. Fauci. Which they won't, because it's bigger than him. Dr. Fauci was just a puppet who was saying all of these things that didn't come true. And then he was behind all these medical companies that were making all this money because of this. And the thing about it is, if you read the contract under or about if you got, the medication, the people said, the people who were issuing it, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and all these other companies, they said, we are not responsible for anything if you take this. So it's like, wait a minute, you're manufacturing a medicine and then saying you're not responsible for anything. And mind you, and this is the Surgeon General, or whatever he was, which he's retiring now, but who cares? So I couldn't believe it. I was just like, absolutely not. You're taking no responsibility for this? None. No responsibility. And then you're giving out booster shots, and then you telling lies about the booster shots. And now, look, the booster shots went from once every 5 years to once every 6 months. And then like once a month. All that money. And then when the war started, what happened to it? All of a sudden, everything opened up when the war started. You notice that? You still wear a mask? I tell you what, I really didn't mind wearing a mask. What happened? Why can't we go everywhere without a mask now? How did that happen? Here's the thing about CV. It's in the water. It's in the water. If you take one of those tests and you test your tap water, it's in the water. I kid you not. It's in the water. It's in your food. It's in the plants. It's in the animals that eat the plants. CV is everywhere. It's everywhere. And it has always been everywhere. This is why I argue with my doctor. And I just saw my doctor about a month ago. She didn't say nothing about CV. Because I walked out on her when she tried to argue with me about it. I like to curse her out. She got loud with me and told me I was going to kill people because I didn't take it. I almost called her a couple choice words. I put my clothes on and I left. And I'm going to tell you something else about that doctor visit. There was somebody else listening. She had some kind of medical advisor or whoever And I think it was some company person. And she was like, yeah, so and so is going to listen to this visit. And I was like, wait, what? Which has never happened before. And then she started talking about, yeah, so did you, get your shot? I was like, nah. She's like, do you want it? I was like, nah. She's like, well, then she started her pitch. See, her controller was listening to her. The people who pay her was listening to her. And they wanted to hear her pitch this nonsense to me. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, who did you test this on? When and the last I checked, and I started to get deep with her. I was like, listen, last time I checked, every animal that you tested it on died. I'm like, no, you're not. I said, listen, I have a degree too. She's like, you may have a degree, but you don't know the science. I was like, I know enough. That's what she told me. I don't know the science. I don't need to know the science. I know the statistics. See, that's the thing. Doctor, you are a doctor. Listen, you're a doctor at general practice. You're a general practice doctor. That's what you are. You're not a specialist. You're a general practice doctor, a PPO. That's what you are. Fine and well. I study healthcare statistics. And that's what she ran into. She ran into somebody who not only I have a degree, but I studied the statistical side of healthcare. Because having a healthcare administration degree, you cover so much. Most of the time you think you're going to sit in an office and be an assistant, or whatever, or you're going to get a master's degree and run some type of department. But you don't have to go any of those routes. You can be an investigator, which is what I want to do. Still might do that. But I'm interested in the investigative side of healthcare. So when she started talking to me, I started showing her the investigative side of healthcare that I was interested in. And that's what stumped her. It didn't like surprise her, but it gave me an argument. And then I was like, well, I have a degree. So I have a valid argument when it comes to the data that you have. You have data on you don't have data on when people get it and all this other stuff. You have scientific data on what it should do when you take it. Is what you got. But you don't have the data on the people who have taken it and what it's actually doing. That information I had. So I had an argument, and I stood on my argument. And she tried to get loud with me, and I said, okay, fine. And I got up out of there. Because I knew the facts. The numbers don't lie. I just brought up the numbers, like absolutely not. You tried these on ferrets and all these other animals, and they all died. You're not putting that in my system. Absolutely not. I applied for this promotional job. And last thing they asked me is like, did you get, I was like, absolutely not. They was like, well, you needed to. I was like, peace. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm good. I'm good. You got people who are turning in. They found out that it changes your DNA. You want to explain that to me? It was changing people's DNA. And listen, here's one thing that the doctor said to me, this female doctor. She was talking about how you guys, meaning black people, how black people don't want to, take it. And this is what helped escalate this to the point where I almost cursed at her. And I don't like to use that language. Because statistically, Black people will not trust a government sanctioned medical whatever. Usually we won't do it. We'll listen to it and we automatically become skeptical, and we have good reason. One, because of AIDS. We know Black people did not start AIDS. The people who started AIDS are the Dutch. It was started by a doctor, and the doctor wanted to inoculate a village in Africa, I forgot what country, in Africa, and he lied to them, and he told them that he had a cure for them. And these are a bunch of poor people. So what did he do? He went, he set up camp, and he started so-called inoculating them. And they took it freely because it's the white man. We trust the white man, and the white man is going to, cure whatever ails our children. And they gave it to everybody in the village. And what happened? It was AIDS. It turned into AIDS, and then boom, 35 million people died from it. And what's really crazy is the government had a chance to stop it when it got over here to the U.S., but they ignored it all the way up until Freddie Mercury died from it. If you don't know who Freddie Mercury is, he's a leader of the group called Queen. Freddie Mercury was a closet homosexual. And this is when the rumor of AIDS is a gay disease. It wasn't. It's a sexually transmitted disease, but the people who were transmitting it more than anybody else were homosexuals, and it started in a bath house. That's when it started here in America. These men would go to bathhouses, have unprotected sex with each other, and then this is where it spread, boom, boom, boom. And then you had husbands who were closet homosexual. You had husbands who were closet homosexuals. They didn't want to tell their wives that they liked men. And then it reached into the heterosexual. And once it got into the heterosexual community, it just, spread like wildfire. But it was so-called Black people that are the ones who spread it. It came from a green monkey, all lies. This is why Black people were skeptical of CV. Because it was started by the Dutch people and it wiped out a bunch of Black people. It was a lie. The Tuskegee experiment, another lie. Syphilis, that they lied and told men that it was going to heal them. And what they did was they gave them syphilis, and they watched these men, they tested these men and watched how they died painfully. Syphilis is a very, 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 very painful way to die. Especially when, what syphilis does, amongst a lot of things, the government's about to unleash the zombie disease they just discovered. Okay, I'm gonna get right into that. So syphilis actually affects your brain. It turns your brain black. It's a very, very painful way to die. And this is why Black people are very skeptical. So this doctor tried to argue me down because, I'm Black and I didn't want to, just trust what she was saying. And you have a handler listening to me. You have a handler listen to me argue with you. There's someone on the phone who I don't know in a doctor's meeting. This is me practice my private moment, and you got this person listening to me? Absolutely not. I was like, absolutely not. I put my stuff on and walked out. Now, as far as the zombie apocalypse, okay, that's another deep subject. Because there's been rumors about the zombie apocalypse. So let's just, for one, let's start with the Georgia Guidestones. Do we all know what the Georgia Guidestones are? They're in Georgia. All right, so the Georgia Guidestones are this monolith-looking stones like Stonehenge, and they have a message on there of how to depopulate the planet and send the planet back to a population of 500,000 people, which would devastate humanity. 500,000 people will never keep this planet running. You'll never keep the grids running. You'll never keep the food going on. You'll never do it. However, the depopulation is already happening. Depopulation is a thing right now. It's already happening. And one of the people's helping with depopulation is Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the largest landowner of America. So he's the largest farmland owner. So what they're doing to the farmland is they're destroying the crops, and that's happening right now. So they're taking these crops and they're having these guys come out with these big old bulldozers and they're destroying all the crops. So depopulation is a thing right now. We just lost thousands of turkeys all in one day. We lost 3,000 cows in one day. A bunch of pigs. All these animals are falling off the face of the planet, and we don't know how this is happening. Well, this is part of the whole depopulation thing. Now, as far as the zombie is and their discovery of a way to make a zombie, there is a fungus. There is a fungus. You guys got me talking for almost 3 hours. I hope you guys at least hit the like button. I usually don't ask for that, but at least do that. All right, at least give me a like. All right. Okay, so there's a fungus that is affected. Okay, it affects ants mostly, but it also affects caterpillars and slugs and stuff like that, but mostly ants. And what it does is it gets into the ant system and it controls the ant's brain. The ant is still alive, but the fungus grows in it until it grows out of it. It does the same thing to bugs, all these other bugs too. But it completely controls them. But the animal, or the not the animal, but the ant is still alive. They looked at this and they're like, this fungus makes the ant or whatever eats it a complete zombie. Also, deers also go through the same thing where the deer is up, walking, running, whatever, but the deer is in a zombie state. It's a fungus that does this. So it's not necessarily that they discovered it because it's always been around, but it's that they're trying to translate the fungus that's affecting these, animals and, insects, and how to indoctrinate that into a pandemic. Now, the thing about it is, if you read like some contracts, especially stuff that Bill Gates has, it could be like your iPhone contract. And some of the readings in there will say, in case of a zombie apocalypse. So the zombie apocalypse is a real thing. I know people are going, it's science fiction. It can't happen. You are absolutely wrong. Not only can it happen, it can happen whenever they program it to happen. Why because they control the food. Now, let's look at FDA. Let's just go there. The FDA approves food that other countries will not approve for their people. Skittles, approved by the FDA, go to another country, not approved. I used to eat these. You know, the Pillsbury dough, you know, the biscuits, you throw them in the oven, half an hour, come out, the biscuits, not approved in other countries. So there is a lot of foods that we eat that the FDA allows us to eat, but they know it's not good for us. You know this. There are companies that are in the back pocket of the government. There are 3 major food companies that also sell you things that they know is bad for you. One of them is J.R. Reynolds. J.R. Reynolds is a cigarette company. They sell you Marlboro cigarettes. They also are in the same company that sell you cereal. How did that happen? It happened through MA, merger and acquisitions, meaning that they got so big, and once they hit a certain, financially, once they got so much money, to put it in layman's terms, they bought out they bought out companies that were either their competitor or they just had an interest in, and they bought them out by the stock market. If there's a company that is publicly traded, you can buy 51% of that company and become the owner of that company. Just like that. Just like that. In some cases, this is good, like in 50 Cent's case. 50 Cent owns Vitamin Water. Well, he bought Vitamin Water, right? Vitamin Water was his own entity, and he saw it was growing. So he bought stock in Vitamin Water, which was a public company at the time. What happened? Coca-Cola saw Vitamin Water as a competitor in the small market that they were, because Vitamin Water was growing. Coca-Cola went onto the stock market and said, boom, we're going to acquire all of Vitamin Water. And when it did that, it made 50 Cent a lot richer. And this is why he talks about it in the song, I Get It. I run New York. You listen to that song, I get money. I get money. That's what he's talking about. Vitamin Water was bought out by Coca-Cola. As soon as it was, 50 Cent became a lot richer. Millions and millions of dollars richer. It's the same reason why J.R. Reynolds is the same company that sells cereal and a bunch of other companies, baby products and all this. There are 3 major companies that sell you your food and sell you tobacco products. So to say, if you're looking at how you can start a zombie apocalypse, you can easily take what they know about nature, the fungus that we're talking about. They can do the same thing that Wuhan, China just did back in 2020. They manufactured an airborne version of something that was already out. This is where you got CV from. But they made it airborne. When they made it airborne, it became what? Highly contagious. And when it took on that new strand, that new form, our bodies were unfamiliar to it. But CV has always been around, but it was something that had to get on a desk or something, and it couldn't survive on this desk too long. It was something that you had to touch. But when Wuhan, China got a hold of it, they manufactured it. CV has been humanly manufactured to do what it did. And once it hit airborne, everybody got it, right? So what do you think they can do with this strand of fungi that can turn you into a zombie? How hard do you think it would be for them to take that, manufacture it, and then spread it out and put it in your food? How hard do you think it is? Every time you eat peanut butter, you're eating roaches. Coffee, same thing. How hard is it for them to sneak that in there? Some meats that you're eating are human flesh. How many cows do you think that there are in America? Now, how many hamburgers do you think that McDonald's sells? And when you do the math, you're going, how many cows can make a hamburger? Then once again, you look at the largest franchise in the world and go, how many McDonald's are there? How many McDonald's are selling hamburgers? And when you start to do the math don't math. It's not mathing. There's no way that 90, let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. You guys better give me a like, man, because this is a lot of information. Let's just do it. Let's take in America. Let's take in America. How many cows are in America? There are 94 million cows in America. Okay, so how many? Some cows we don't eat for, I think they just use them for milk. So let me look up beef cows. Or I don't know what they call them. Glasses again. Okay, so one third of the conservatives think this is the case, but it's not. A single package of conventional ground beef might contain meat from 100 to 400, even 1,000 cows. Yes, there have been studies that have found traces of DNA from up to 1,000 cows in a single package of ground meat. Okay, so let's do this. What kind of cows make hamburger patties? I'm trying to get a number. The best ground beef, the buns, burger, 8% lean meat. Okay, the cow, ground chuck, ground shoulder, lean fat. So, ground beef mixed ratio. All right, on the top 3 most popular cattle breeds for burger. So, not every cow is bred for a hamburger. Do hamburgers come from cows? Ground beef used to mix hamburgers come from both male and female cows. Young and old. Okay, so let's go back to how many cows there are. $94 million cows, a lot of cows in the U.S., which equates to around 1 cow for every 3 people. 1 cow for every 3 people. How many cows Oh, this is interesting. 11 facts that you probably don't know about hamburgers. The Washington Post explained that meat patties aren't just made from the muscle tissues of a single animal, but from the fiber as many as 100 cows. So, or even more. So they're saying that one hamburger has the muscle tissue or whatever from, it could be the DNA of 1,000 cows. But if you had 1 cow for every 3 people, let's just do this. I don't know how many hamburgers it makes. I try to figure out how many cows are in a single hamburger. Let me read this real quick. I try to figure out how many cows are in a single hamburger. It was really hard. Last time I ate a hamburger, blah blah blah, because of big should have been obvious. I want to know how many cows make a hamburger, but they don't. Shouldn't matter how many cows go into a hamburger. Okay, that's not going to tell me what I want. But so 94 million cows, 1 for each 3 people. Is that what it says? So how many hamburgers are eaten in a year? Let's do that. Whew, about, oh my God, this number. 3,650,003,000. So what's that? What is the, hold on. How many hamburgers are eaten each year?
According to SWNS Digital, average American eats about 60 burgers per year.
60 burgers a year. That's a lot. That's a lot of hamburgers. That's crazy. There's no way that these cows, there's no way. There's no way. How many hamburgers did McDonald's sell last year?
According to Deep Stash, on average, McDonald's sells 2.5 billion hamburgers every year. That equates to 75 McDonald's hamburgers sold every 6.5 million hamburgers each day.
No way. No way. No way. No way. It's not possible. You hear those numbers? 94 million cows in America. McDonald's itself sold 2.5 billion hamburgers. And I'm still not sure how many hamburgers 1 cow makes. But if we were gonna, I don't know, maybe shot in the dark it, maybe, let me see something. How many hamburgers does 1 cow make?
According to Quora, all of this beef could be used to make hamburger, and so at 4 ounces each, a cow can yield from say about 1,200 burgers on up to well over 2,000.
Okay, we'll take the big number. We'll go 2,000. So, hold on. 2,000, right? What's 94 million times 2,000? Oh, how would I do that? What's the math on that? If each cow makes 2,000, it would be 94 million times, wouldn't it? 94 million times 2,000. Let me see if you're going to give it to me. What's 94 million times 2,000?
The answer is 188 billion.
188 billion. Okay, so what's 188 billion divided by 2.5 billion?
The answer is 75 billion 200 million.
75 billion 200 million. Okay, so there's no way that we're eating just cow meat. I'm going to tell you why. Because there's 94 million cows, right? There's each year, there's 2.5 billion hamburgers just made by McDonald's, right? This is not counting any other franchise or ground meat or anything that's sold in a supermarket. It's not including chuck roast. It's not including, any other restaurant. There's no way that we're just eating cows in the meat. There's no way. It's not possible. Some people think it's human. People have said this. It's getting cold in here. I gotta. Anyways, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I need to get something to eat. It's been lovely talking to you guys. Don't forget to give me a like. I've been on for 3 hours. I'm tired. But I'll be on again sometime soon. All right, peace.